Yo, what is me, Asti, and today I'm making another NFL draft video. Today I'm ranking my top 10 quarterbacks in the 2021 NFL draft. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button down below, as well as hitting that subscribe button. I'm on the way to 1K, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when I upload next. But yeah, like I said, quarterbacks is up. This is my last positional rankings before the draft. I'm just going to be making another mock draft right before the draft happens, and maybe another surprise. We'll see. But anyways, let's hop right into it.
Woo! It's showtime! Woo!
Okay, so we're starting at 10 and making our way down to 1. That way it's a little bit more suspenseful for y'all. But starting off at number 10, I have Jamie Newman from Wake Forest. Well, sort of Georgia too. It's a little complicated. Jamie Newman played all of his college career at Wake Forest, but he transferred to Georgia in 2020 and then ended up opting out. So I'm going to keep it as he went to Wake Forest since that's where he played. But if you watched one of my other NFL draft videos, you already know I can't put players that didn't play in 2020 very high, and Newman here isn't an exception. Jamie Newman is a very raw quarterback. He's going to need a lot of coaching in the NFL if he does in fact even get drafted. He is a project quarterback because of the system he ran at Wake Forest. They did a lot of RPOs and did not run a very pro style of offense at all. So it's yet to be seen if he can translate to the NFL. And on top of all that, he kind of shit the bed at his pro day. Now, he has some decent tape at Wake Forest, and he does have some potential if a team can coach him up. I don't see him starting anytime soon, but could maybe be an average starter in the league at his ceiling. At number 9, I have a pretty popular quarterback from Texas, Sam Ehlinger. Now, Sam Ehlinger is a very interesting quarterback prospect to me because he's sort of all over the place when it comes to evaluating him. I don't really know if his skills can translate into the NFL. He has a decent accuracy at times. He has a pretty slow release of the ball, which is going to need some work in the NFL. He's going to get himself into a lot of trouble if he keeps his release. And he also tries to scramble way too damn much. He needs to stay calm in the pocket. Didn't see much of that at Texas. He did have some medical issues, but I'm not too concerned about that. On the positive side, he's very athletic, which makes me think an NFL team will take a chance on him, maybe even earlier than they should, just because he's athletic. Ehlinger reminds me a lot of a Walmart brand Tim Tebow. He might be asked to switch positions in the NFL. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Or maybe be more of like a Taysom Hill type of player and be a hybrid gadget guy. Then again, a team might just want a very athletic quarterback that they think can be coached up. So that's why I have Ehlinger at 9. Coming in at number 8, I have a guy that I think is a little overrated in my opinion, but I have Kyle Trask from Florida. Some people think Trask should be a second rounder, and I just don't see that. I don't even see him in the 3rd or maybe in the 4th. He had a lot of production at Florida, but it's because of his great weapons. He has an average arm strength and just straight up isn't mobile. He's pretty slow and hid behind his weaknesses at Florida, and by chucking it up to Kyle Pitts, who's amazing, or dumping it off to Kadarius Toney, also amazing. Also, both of them are first-round talents in this year's draft. I think he's just a worse version of Mac Jones, who'll be on this list a little later on, since they're in a similar situation with great weapons around them. I don't see him as a starter right away. He could maybe find himself in a starting role a few years down the line, but he's going to need a team around him, and if he can prove that, then hey, good for him. At number 7, I have one of my potential steals of the draft in Davis Mills from Stanford. By the way, if you haven't watched my top 10 steals of the draft yet, go watch that video. It gives a lot of good insight into later round guys if you're interested in that. I did talk about him a lot in that video, but I'll talk even more on him here. He isn't the most exciting or freakish athlete, but he has a lot of good traits that I think could translate into the NFL. He's a super quick decision maker. He puts great touch on the ball, which allows him to throw his receivers open. He's just an all-around smart player. You could say he has a lot of
Knowledge.
Some knocks on him would be that he has an inconsistent deep ball. He doesn't have a lot of experience in college, being he only started in a handful of games at Stanford, as well as he has a tendency to panic against pressure, which I would do since he's not fast and he's not very evasive. But if you give Davis Mills a solid offensive line in the NFL, I think he could be an effective starter in a year or two. Teams are just going to be scared since he doesn't have a lot of film to go off of, nor a lot of experience. At number 7,
Stupid.
I have another great potential guy and Kellen Mond from Texas A&M. Now, Kellen Mond is a good all-around quarterback who didn't have a lot of great weapons around him at A&M, unlike some of these other quarterback prospects. He does have the ability to throw receivers open like Davis Mills does, but he messes up sometimes because he's very aggressive and he'll force a lot of passes, which I don't really blame him since he didn't have the best wide receiving core at A&M, but he needs to shake that habit in the NFL, as well as his happy feet he's shown in the pocket, which will lead him to not stepping into his throws, which is a problem in the NFL. It has great potential, like I said, but he's going to have to clean up some things mechanically, which can be done with some good coaching. I kind of compare him to a Dak Prescott a little bit, a late round guy who could succeed right away if you had a good team around him. I think a team might reach on him since these top 5 quarterbacks will go so early, but I have him at 6 here. Now into the top 5. All 5 of these guys are first rounders, and I'd be willing to bet a lot of money on them all going in the first unless something drastic comes out on one of them before the draft starts. But at number 5 here, I have Mac McCorkle-Jones from Alabama. Yes, his real first name is McCorkle. No wonder he goes by Mac. Anyway, Mac Jones is a very solid quarterback. He had a great year in 2020, but had a lot of great talent around him. Arguably the best wide receiving core in college football history, with guys like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith, all first rounders. And I think Mac will be as well. He's a great leader too, which I think is a very underrated trait in quarterbacks. You always want a good leader in your quarterback, in my opinion. But he doesn't have a super strong arm, nor is he super athletic, but he has a very high floor. It's yet to be seen what he can do on his own without an amazing team around him, but I think with the right team, he can do great things. Mac Jones could definitely start right away. I can't see him falling out of the top 15 because of his high floor. Now at number 4, I had a lot of trouble deciding between 2 guys here who I want to put at 3 and 4. I could easily see them being switched, but for right now, I have to put Trey Lance from North Dakota State at 4. Trey's a big-time athlete with a big frame, and he can run really well. He didn't play a lot of great competition at North Dakota State, obviously, but all the teams he did play, he dominated them. He had a great pro day, in my opinion. He seemed to have fixed some minor mechanical issues he showed in 2019. He did play 1 game in 2020 and balled out, which is good enough for me. Not to mention, North Dakota State has produced a first-round quarterback before in Carson Wentz, but Trey is a lot better than Wentz.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But like I said, Trey Lance could easily be the number 3 quarterback. I just have to give the other quarterback ahead of him the edge by just an inch. Like I said, Trey Lance and this quarterback were super close for me, and it was pretty tough to pick one over the other. But the quarterback I have here at 3 is Justin Fields. The reason I put Justin Fields slightly above Trey Lance is because of the level competition. Fields is a super strong, a tough player, like a Big Ben, but athletic. Fields is super fast for a quarterback, and I think his strength in the passing game is his intermediate throws. He's super competitive, which leads him to take unnecessary shots, which needs to be addressed in the NFL because the team that picks him can't afford him to be injured. Fields does have some very correctable minor mistakes, like in his games against Northwestern and Indiana, but besides that, he's an absolute stud, and that's why I have him at quarterback 3. At number 2, I have Zach Wilson from BYU. Now, I might get some hate on this comparison here, but I really do see a flash of Patrick Mahomes and Zach Wilson. Everyone wants to know, oh, who's the next Mahomes? Who's the next Mahomes? Well, I think it could possibly be Zach Wilson. He has an absolute cannon and is a great improviser, just like Patrick Mahomes. He has a great throwing mechanics and showed time and time again that he can make acrobatic off-balance throws accurately. He didn't have very good weapons at BYU and especially lacked a deep threat. I think if he can get that, just like Mahomes has a Tyreek Hill, if Zach Wilson gets a Tyreek Hill, he could do great things in the NFL. Zach Wilson is a great player with great potential, easily a top 3 player in the draft for me, but he's the top 2 quarterback here. And at number 1,
you already know who it is. It's your boy,
Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, I mean University of Clemson. He hasn't been picked just yet. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect coming out since Andrew Luck. You probably already know about Trevor Lawrence, but for those of you who are living under a rock, I'll tell you about him. Trevor Lawrence won the national title as a freshman, which shows me he can thrive under pressure and when the lights are the brightest. He had an insane touchdown to interception ratio with 90 touchdowns to only 17 picks, and he had a great quarterback rating as well. He's a dual threat quarterback as well. People don't like to talk about that, but he almost had 1,000 rushing yards on top of all of his passing yards. He had some pretty decent weapons at Clemson, and T. Higgins, Hunter Renfrow, Travis Etienne, and Amari Rodgers. But Lawrence played the best of the best every single year at Clemson. He's easily the best player and a soon-to-be Jacksonville Jaguar. So yeah, that was my top 10 quarterback rankings of the 2021 NFL Draft. I have them all listed over here. You can take a look at them. Critique my rankings all you want. Leave some comments down below. Love reading them. Love talking to y'all. I read every comment and I try to respond to everyone. So if you want, I'll see it. Anyways, leave a like if you like this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe found it a little bit entertaining. Maybe learned something. If you did, make sure to hit it and the subscribe button as well. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed.